In 1994, one African nation descended into unimaginable horror. In just 100 days, more than 800,000 people were slaughtered during one of the fastest genocides in human history. Neighbors killed neighbors. Families disappeared overnight. Children watched parents die. Churches became massacre sites. And rivers filled with bodies while the world stood watching in silence. Some survivors hid beneath corpses for days just to stay alive. Others escaped through forests carrying wounded children, while militias hunted civilians across the country. Even today, the scars of Rwanda still remain, and many people still ask one terrifying question: how did an entire nation collapse into genocide so quickly? Stay until the end, because the final survivor stories from Rwanda will leave you speechless.
Keep moving, the fire is getting closer.
I know, but the children are so tired.
Mama, I'm scared. Where are we going?
Mama, to the next village. Stay close to me.
To understand the genocide, you must first understand the divisions created decades earlier. Rwanda is a small country in East Africa. For centuries, most Rwandans belonged to three groups: the Hutu, the Tutsi, and the Twa. Although these communities shared language, culture, and traditions, colonial powers later deepened ethnic divisions for political control. When Belgium ruled Rwanda during the colonial period, the Belgian administration favored the Tutsi minority over the Hutu majority. Identity cards classified people by ethnicity. This system created resentment and political tension that slowly grew over generations. Over time, violence and mistrust increased. Many Tutsis fled the country during earlier ethnic conflicts. Some later formed armed rebel groups outside Rwanda, hoping to return home. Meanwhile, hateful propaganda inside Rwanda increasingly portrayed Tutsis as dangerous enemies threatening the nation. By the early 1990s, Rwanda stood dangerously divided. On April 6, 1994, everything changed. That night, a plane carrying the Rwandan President, Juvénal Habyarimana, approached Kigali Airport. Suddenly, missiles struck the aircraft in the darkness. The plane exploded in flames before crashing near the presidential palace. Within hours, roadblocks appeared across Kigali. Militias and government forces began hunting Tutsis and moderate Hutus. Lists of names had already been prepared. The killings began almost immediately.
Stay alert! Hostiles ahead! Copy that! Moving up! Eyes on the flanks!
In the days following the plane crash, the violence spread rapidly across Rwanda. Militia groups known as the Interahamwe moved from village to village carrying machetes, clubs, and guns. Roadblocks appeared across major roads and neighborhoods. Identity cards were checked constantly. Those identified as Tutsi were often separated immediately. Entire families disappeared within hours. Some victims were killed inside homes. Others were attacked while trying to flee toward churches, schools, forests, or government buildings. The fear became overwhelming. People stopped trusting neighbors. Some civilians betrayed friends and even family members out of fear, propaganda, or survival. Meanwhile, radio broadcasts encouraged more violence every day. The killings became organized, systematic, and terrifyingly fast. Across Rwanda, smoke rose from burning villages while terrified civilians ran through forests searching for survival. As the violence intensified, thousands of civilians believed churches would provide protection. Entire families gathered inside crowded churches carrying children, blankets, and small amounts of food. People prayed continuously while listening to gunfire outside. Many believed nobody would attack holy places filled with civilians. But in several parts of Rwanda, the churches became massacre sites. Militia groups surrounded church buildings filled with terrified civilians. Doors and windows were blocked. Some survivors later described hearing screaming, prayers, and gunfire echoing through the buildings. At places such as Nairobi Catholic Church, thousands of people hiding for safety were killed. The church massacres became some of the most horrifying moments of the genocide. As Rwanda collapsed into genocide, The international community responded slowly. United Nations peacekeepers were already inside Rwanda before the violence began, but they had limited authority and very few resources. After several peacekeepers were killed early in the conflict, many foreign governments evacuated their own citizens from Rwanda. Meanwhile, most Rwandan civilians were left behind. World leaders debated politics and military risks while mass killings continued daily. Some governments avoided using the word genocide because international law could require intervention. Survivors later described feeling abandoned by the world. Despite the horror surrounding them, some people survived through extraordinary courage, luck, and endurance. Families hid inside ceilings, forests, churches, and underground spaces for days or weeks. Some survivors pretended to be dead beneath bodies in order to avoid discovery. Others escaped through swamps while militias searched nearby villages. Children became separated from parents during the chaos. Many survivors later described overwhelming trauma, fear, grief, and silence after the killings ended. But even during the genocide, acts of humanity still existed. Some individuals secretly protected endangered families despite risking their own lives. As the genocide and civil war intensified, millions of people fled Rwanda into neighboring countries. Huge refugee columns stretched across roads and countryside for miles. Families walked for days carrying children, water containers, blankets, and the few belongings they still possessed. Many refugees suffered dehydration, starvation, disease, and exhaustion. Refugee camps became overcrowded rapidly. Medical supplies and clean water were limited. Cholera outbreaks spread through camps filled with exhausted civilians. The humanitarian crisis shocked the world. After the genocide ended, Rwanda faced an enormous question. How could justice ever be achieved after so much horror? Many perpetrators fled the country. Others remained hidden among civilians. International courts were created to prosecute organizers of the genocide. Meanwhile, Rwanda developed local community courts known as Gacaca courts. Survivors, witnesses, and accused individuals publicly testified about crimes committed during the violence. Some survivors forgave perpetrators. Others struggled with emotional trauma for decades. Justice after genocide proved painful, emotional, and deeply complicated. After 100 days of violence, the genocide finally ended, but Rwanda had been transformed forever. Hundreds of thousands were dead. Entire families disappeared. Mass graves were discovered across the country. Survivors struggled rebuilding lives after unimaginable trauma and loss. In the years that followed, Rwanda focused on rebuilding the nation and preventing future ethnic violence. Memorials were created to honor victims and preserve memory for future generations. Today, the Rwandan genocide remains one of the darkest chapters in modern African history. It stands as a warning about hatred, propaganda, political extremism, and division. But it is also a story about survival, resilience, and humanity's responsibility to never allow such horror to happen again. The Rwandan genocide showed the world how quickly hatred and division can destroy a nation. Neighbors became enemies, families disappeared, and humanity reached one of its darkest moments. But the survivors of Rwanda also showed incredible courage, strength, and resilience. The most important question now is this: what can humanity learn from Rwanda to prevent another genocide from ever happening again? Tell us your thoughts honestly in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this documentary, please like, share, follow, and support the page for more powerful African history documentaries and true historical stories. And most importantly, tell us in the comment section, what African history, empire, mystery, or tragedy should we uncover next? Because Africa's untold history is far more powerful than most people realize.